Welcome, beautiful beings. This is going to be an introduction to a series of interviews that I'm feeling really guided and really excited to bring through. Earlier on in the year, I was visited by this beautiful gnome energy. This beautiful gnome came from the elemental realms and reminded me of my passion, of one of the things that I'm here on this planet to do, and that is to be a bridge between the elemental world and the world of humanity. So I've kind of been flowing in and out of this, and I did some videos at the beginning of the year. I did some on the gnome energy and the dragon energy that was showing itself to me at that time. And I've just done a few little bits and pieces here and there, put a few things on my website, and just began to really allow myself to begin to express a little bit about this realm. So this series of videos and interviews that I'm about to embark on is really coming from my heart. It's coming from a place that is as real to me as this physical reality that we find ourselves in. I feel the elemental realm so clearly, and it really, when I'm not in alignment with doing this work, then I'm just not in my happy place. And as soon as I realign to this work and start focusing on it, then just everything begins to open and flow, and I feel really excited. So I just kind of, I think I would like in this moment just to give you a little bit of my own background as to my journey. And yeah, so I think as a child, I always felt the elemental realm. I did. I loved to spend time in the garden, and I just naturally connected to nature, and I knew it was alive, and I connected to the trees and the grass and the flowers and the clouds, and it just felt natural that they were my friends, and I didn't question that. It was just a very natural way of being, and I think that probably most people in the right environment have that. And then as we grow up, it's not modeled to us anymore, and we don't see people connecting to nature in that way. We don't see people talking with nature or connecting with it or receiving wisdom from nature. Nature's seen as something very separate from us and something that isn't alive even. Um, so it's always been with me. And then in my early 20s, I began to have a sort of spiritual awakening, I think in my mid-teens. And then in my early 20s, I moved into town, but I remember just having this feeling, well, I wanted to put all these like images of fairies everywhere. And looking back on it now, I can see that I was just really perceiving their presence around me. But at that time, I didn't know that it was real. I just thought it was a fantasy thing that I enjoyed, and I didn't see it as a reality. And so, especially the flower fairy images, they were around me a lot. So this connection has always been there, but I haven't perceived it as reality. I saw it as fantasy because that's what I'd been taught. And so back in 2009, I began to open my perception to different layers of reality, to energy, to angels, and the elemental realm began to show itself to me, and it began to speak to me, and it began to tell me about how the elementals read our vibration, and then they create reality. They read the vibration of everything, and they maintain and create reality. They create physical reality. And at that time, I was just, for several years, I was getting lots and lots of downloads and visions. I was really connected to the tour in Glastonbury. That for me now is a very key place, especially in England, of the Fae. I was being shown portals there into the other dimensions, and yeah, I would wake in the night with just flashes of knowing about the elemental realm, and I would just be transported into these other places. I had a beautiful experience where I also make sacred geometry jewelry, and for the first time, I was displaying at an open house where the whole town opens. People open their houses and they show art, and so I was sharing my sacred geometry jewelry for the first time, and I created this big like archway that was against the wall, and I decorated it, and it had fairies and flowers, and oh, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And one night while I was sleeping, I kind of came to, and I was shown that I'd created my own fairy gateway, and it was like I had had an initiation into the fairy realm. And at that time, I was beginning to receive kind of why I was here. And one of the things that is my passion is to share this information with other people, that this realm exists, that it's real, that it's part of our reality. It's not something that's separate, and it's not fantasy, and it's real. But I went through quite a process of not feeling comfortable talking about this stuff. A lot of my fears came up. I was having real trouble expressing this, and I just didn't want to be seen as mad. And I wasn't in my environment at the time. I wasn't seeing other people talking about this, and so I began to talk about it a little bit with people, and some people were open and some people weren't. So over time, it's been a real journey to feel comfortable enough to know who I am and to remember my connection and to share it. So I've been sharing uh, photography of nature. That's one way I've been communicating the magical energy that comes from this realm. Is through my photography, and I've been doing that without really talking about fairies and elementals, and I've just been sharing. So now is a time for me to step further into this and to sort of come out more and share more. And I had received a little while back this idea of doing interviews with people. And then the idea, I just kind of shelved it a little bit. And then a week ago, I was watching an interview with, actually, she was interviewing somebody else and she's going to be my first guest, Jessica Jones. And I've been guided to her a couple of times now to do with the fairy realm. And it just sparked something in me and opened and awakened something in me. And after I sat and watched this interview, and she was talking about the fairies, talking about the elementals, talking about Glastonbury and the tour, and just everything started coming alive in me again. I just started getting so excited. And after the interview, which I was told very clearly, my guidance told me very clearly, you have to watch this interview now. I was about to go to bed and I was really tired, and it was like, no, watch this now. So afterwards, I closed my laptop and I just closed my eyes and I just asked, what can I do? What is it that I can do next? And I saw myself very clearly interviewing Jessica. And it just felt so aligned and so right. And so I really want to bring forward now as many people as I can who are connected to these realms. And my intention and my desire is to bring this to a place where it becomes normal to talk about these realms in a way that helps people perceive them and understand them, and to realize that maybe their own experiences are real, or to open them to having their own experiences. And I have no idea where this is going to go, and I'm just really excited with it. So I just really wanted to come here and just share a little bit of my background. Obviously, so much more has happened than I've shared. It's just that's what's felt like wanted to come through in this moment. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited. So I hope you'll join me for these interviews and watch them with an open heart. And that's really a big part of the messages that come through from the fairy realm for me. It's about opening the heart, connecting to your childlike wonder, receiving the wisdom that is there, receiving the love and the joy and the playfulness. We have become so serious as adults in a crazy, chaotic, scary world at times, and there's an opportunity and an opening here to begin to perceive another reality. And the more that we perceive it and the more that we ground it into our being, the more it will become alive in our reality. The bridge, we're going to bridge this perceived gap between these realities and bring back more joy and bring back more love, and learn to live in harmony with the earth and with the plants and the animals and with each other and ourselves. There's so much deep wisdom here. It's not, it's grounded. I want this to be grounded and real and something that's accessible to everybody. So yeah, we'll see. I'm just going to follow the breadcrumbs, follow the sparkles, see who gets my attention, who wants to be interviewed, and just take it from there. So thank you for watching, and I hope you will join me in listening to these interviews, and we'll see where it goes. Have a beautiful day, and sending you so much love and so much magic. Thanks.